Let's take a breath together. Awake, aware, and active when I'm criticized. That may be synonymous with the human condition. Maybe. What came to me in the meditation was, if I walked up to any of you this morning and said, the lime green hair that you're doing doesn't work, what would you think? I mean, would you give it any credence at all? No. Why? None of you are sporting lime green hair. Right? So you know that, get this thing adjusted out here a little bit because I don't have anybody on the soundboard. So we know when it's not real. We know. So if someone is criticizing you and there's a landing pad, that tells you you already have a belief in what they're saying. Yeah. Because if you knew it wasn't true, it would have no more power than you have lime green hair. You would just, okay, dude, whatever. And it wouldn't have any energy. And so, why are we afraid that people will criticize us? That one's easy. Because we criticize other people. We know other people are going to do it because we do it. Even if it's just in the privacy of your own mind, silently, we do it. Somebody's walking down the street and we writing fashion citations. You know you do. Hey, who dressed you this morning? Somebody switched your animal tags. We all do it, right? Because something in us has decided that that is goofy or inappropriate or something. And if we could recognize that that is a decision for us, then maybe we could let everybody else make their own decisions. Because, and this really gets to the core of codependency, right? What I wear, how I show up in the world, does not represent Deborah. Doesn't. And there are days when she's like, you going out of the house looking like that? I'm like, I am. True story. Okay? And I have the same days. I have them about Deborah. Some days I have them about me. Some days I catch a glimpse of me once I'm already out in the world and go, ooh, dude, not a good look. Too late, you're out in public. Right? And what if we begin to hold it lightly? What if we just do that? What if our choices stop defining us and we start letting who we are define our choices? Did you catch that? Stop letting our choices define us and start letting who we are define our choices. Most of us choose from a deep, unconscious unawareness. We choose from patterned generational beliefs that we've never dared examine. Because to do so means we question our upbringing. Now, depending on who your upbringing came from, questioning that might bring back memories of danger. Right? I mean, I grew up in the South. I grew up with, how old are you? 12? You ever want to see 13? Right? There was a deep belief in spare the rod, spoil the child. There was the activity of go get your own switch from the forsythia tree and bring it back. And if you didn't bring back a switch that was worthy, you had to go get another one. I will never live in a home that has forsythia. Not gonna happen. I'm not looking out every day and seeing a bush that makes my hiney tingle. I can forgive the behavior, but for some reason, I cannot disconnect that cellular memory. And every time I see a forsythia bush, I'm like, nee. Don't make the bush bad. What if we let go of some of those deep volumes of Shouldapedia? Right? What if it really is okay to question your parents? What if it really is okay to own that, man, they really messed up? And to understand that even though they did the best they could, it was horrible. What if we look in the mirror as parents and go, oh my God, all of those moments growing up where I swore I would never be like them, and here I am, them. What if we just own that? Because then there's no landing pad for the criticism. It's what we refuse to reveal that makes us vulnerable. Because we have this unconscious protection. And when somebody gets near it, we lash out to protect it. And so if you criticize me and it touches that nerve, it hurts. But if I've already done my work, okay, this is the third time this story has popped into my head since I spun the wheel, so here goes. For those of you watching who don't know, I am a female to male transgender person, so you need that context for this story to make sense. I used to have a job where I sat in a little box at a gas station and collected money. And this was in western North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina area, Hendersonville. And we have our share of rednecks. And at that time, I was living the life of a lesbian. And at that time, I was about 320 pounds. And every once in a while, a truckload of rednecks would ride by the gas station and scream, "Effing fat lesbian!" And it would just break my heart. Now, I'm also a person in 12-step recovery. And so I was talking to my sponsor about it. And what Terry said to me was, which makes you more angry, that they said it out loud or that it's true? Because it was. I was a fat lesbian. You don't get to be 5'9", weigh 320 pounds and say, I'm not fat. It was factual. What hurt was that they said it out loud. And as soon as I owned that it was true, they had no power. They had zero power. And so the next time it happened, I just sat there and went, well, don't you have great observation skills? Because it no longer had any power. It's what we refuse to reveal. It's what we refuse to own that gives criticism power. If you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody says about you. And then we really begin to realize what Don Miguel Ruiz is talking about when he says personalize nothing. That when someone criticizes you, they're just giving you information about themselves. It has nothing to do with you. Now, that is different than addressing problematic behavior. That's different. Personal criticism is different than saying, you know what? You don't get to show up in my life and be abusive. That's not a criticism. That's communicating a boundary. That's communicating that I know my value. You don't get to abuse me. There's nothing in that that is a criticism. It is identifying a behavior, and it is saying no. And no is a complete sentence. Right? You can do that wherever you want, wherever it's allowed. It's not allowed here. Right? We are an inclusive community, and we are. And that does not mean we don't have limits. Doesn't mean we don't have structure. Right? You can, everybody's included, but everybody kind of sort of needs to wear clothes when you come to service. I don't care which clothes you wear, but you got to wear clothes. You can't come naked. Right? There are limits. And I use that as a ridiculous example on purpose. Right? When we begin to understand the difference between criticism and observation, now we are allowing other people to help us heal. Because other people will see things in us that we don't see. Because we've practiced it so long, it's normal. As one who was abused ritualistically, I didn't know that wasn't normal for a long time. Right? So sometimes it takes somebody pointing something out to us for us to get that, oh, that's not healthy. Everybody doesn't communicate that way. Right? And so we begin in community. It's kind of like a rock tumbler, and we start bumping up against one another, and we begin to polish each other. And so we get to say, this is what I heard you say. Is that really what you meant? And we get to examine that. I am in awe of this process with this spinning wheel at this point. Because the reading, the Howard Thurman reading about hate, I had no idea where that wheel was going to land. And it's quite perfect. I brought these this morning to share with you. They are respectful communication guidelines. And they fit in so beautifully. So I'm going to read this. There are like 20 copies back there on the table. If you care to, take them with you. Put them on your refrigerator or wherever to help you remember. If you have a problem with me, come to me privately. If I have a problem with you, I will come to you privately. If someone has a problem with me and comes to you, send them to me. I will do the same for you. If someone constantly will not come to me, say, let's go to them together. And I am sure they will talk with us about this. I will do the same for you. Please do not interpret me. I welcome you asking me what I meant. On matters that are unclear, do not feel pressured to interpret my feelings or thoughts. I welcome you asking me. I will do the same for you. If it is confidential, do not tell me. If it is confidential, don't ask me to tell you. Don't even ask. Unsigned letters and notes will not be read. Please be courageous so you are seen and heard. Unnamed complaints, some of which begin with, I have heard several people saying, will not be addressed. Please be courageous so you are seen and heard. Please do not hint to me, hoping I will understand your need and know what you intend me to hear. I welcome you saying exactly what you mean. Parking lot or hallway griping is poisonous. If you need to complain, please do it only with the intention of healing it, and even then, tell only the one who can do something about it. I will do the same. And lastly, when in doubt, just say it. The only damaging question is the one that doesn't get asked. And so I encourage you to explore these as a way to communicate here, there, and everywhere. They will serve you greatly, and they will eliminate a whole lot of the landing pads where criticism has a hot button for you. Know the truth of your being. Stand firmly in that. Everybody's going to have opinions. We all got them. They're kind of unavoidable. They're part of the human condition. They only have the power you give them. When you know that you are an intentional, on purpose, one of a kind, never to be repeated desire in the heart of creation itself to know life and live life as you. When you really get that, do you really give a rat's rear end what anybody else thinks? Nope. So keep coming back to that. Know who you are. And if you don't know, start talking to other people that can help you remember, because part of you knows. The soul of you knows exactly who you are. And sometimes we forget. That's why we have practitioners. That's why we have ministers. That's why we have spiritual community, to help us remember who we are. Let's take this into prayer. There is only one, indefinable, unnameable, magnificent beyond what I can begin to comprehend. It has always been, it is now, and it will be into eternity. It has no circumference, so its very center is everywhere present. It is individualized, expressing itself as all creation. Every point of creation, a sacred expression of the one. And so I simply claim and affirm that truth. And that anything unlike that bubbles to the surface to be negated, to be neutralized, to be resolved, to be redeemed for truth. And I celebrate that just as quickly as it is spoken, it is done. No waiting period. And so I joyfully release any thought that lies to me and tells me it's different. I let it go so that I can stand fully in the truth of being and claim it as the truth that it is. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Let's take a breath.